Now, from WBZ Sports, this is Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria.
We're not done. We're not satisfied. I think champions are never satisfied. I think you can appreciate where you are, but at the same time, never be satisfied or complacent. And there's a fine line of what we have to do to be able to come back a year, understand that just because you have a bye, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed some victory the next week in this league. Be ready to focus on football and us finishing this thing.
Well, interesting words from Mike Vrabel as the Patriots head into their bye week, everyone. Hello and welcome to Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. I'm Steve Burton. This is how you hit the bye week, right? 10 straight wins. The best record in the National Football League at 11-2. And a chance to now get some much needed rest. Get guys healthy, get guys back in the lineup. I'm joined now by Ernie Adams and Christian Fauria. Wow. Let me just start by saying, wow. The way they came out last night and delivered the 1-2 punch, and they came out violent, Ernie, violent.
They came out and played the way you're supposed to play. I mean, it's December. You know, all the games come. That's the way you're supposed to play football.
Usually, teams have a tendency to just look past this game because they're so ready to go on vacation. They're so ready to disconnect from the franchise.
But the cars are running?
Cars are running, bags are packed in the parking lot, by the way. And I think this is absolutely a true sign of them taking the message that Vrabel gives to them earlier in the week, and now you see it in real time. They were physical. They started fast. There was no indecision. They were measured. They were hurt. They're missing a couple guys. They didn't use anything as an excuse. And when the game started, man, they took it to the Giants, who had a really good game last week. I was a little nervous about the Giants, Ernie, just based on how well they played and how they had nothing to lose. But they showed they had nothing to lose.
I tried to tell him.
Yeah.
We nervous about this game, but listen, he brings up an excellent point. They started faster this week.
Took it. I'm sure they had. That looked like team had. I'm sure they had a good week of practice and just kept it.
The tempo.
They understand. Hey, we got something good going. There's nothing. You want to get a football team playing well in December. Just have them all understanding. Hey, we are playing for something. So there's you got some motivation to go out and play as well as you can every week.
Let's talk about this bye week, because here's the deal. When the schedule came out before the season started, right? You looked at the bye week and we're like, this bye week in December.
It's ways away.
That's way down the line. Now it turns out that this is a good thing.
Well, I'll just remind you of something in 2001, where we ended up beating the Rams in Super Bowl 36. But we had our bye week at the last week of the regular season.
Oh, you did?
Sure, because Gillette Stadium was under construction. That was going to be they did it that way so they could get a jump on demolishing Foxborough Stadium, so they could get.
So they put the bye week at the end.
At the end, of course, it
backfired.
Well, the way it worked out, we had 9/11, so that we then played the second week's games after our bye week, and then we had the first round bye. So basically, we played one game in a month.
Wow.
Which was huge, which I promise you was absolutely a huge way to go into the playoffs. We had 2 byes, in 3 weeks.
So let me ask you this: when that happens and you're rolling, how do you be careful about losing momentum?
You know what? You get, because you work out. You've got your team buys in. They know it's important. That you just sell it hard. Hey, we've got a chance here. But the biggest thing is having your whole team understand, hey, we can actually do something.
I think it's having a mature, committed team is very important, because those types of teams that are self-regulated, right? The locker room regulates protocol,
right. Trickle down
operating
effect.
procedures. Nobody gets out of line. So, and that's what I was like, man, if they give them a week off, I wouldn't worry about it. They'll come back, they'll be ready to play. They'll be itching to get back on the field, because it's too much time, because then you get out of your rhythm. So it'll be interesting how they handle it.
But I am assuming, like, you can realistically, during this, you can get 2 good practices in during the bye week. It's a great chance to go over, work on some of your fundamentals that you haven't done well. Self-scout. I mean, there's a lot you can get done. I mean, the biggest thing the Patriots have done from week 1, they've just gotten better every week.
Which is what you said at the beginning when we first started the show. Can this football team get better every week?
And that is the critical part. Credit to everybody down there, every player and every coach. They have done that.
And I would just add that people will question this team based on who they play, the quarterbacks that the defense went against, and they'll try to diminish their accomplishment and their wins. And they'll ignore the road win in Buffalo, the road win in Tampa, and act like it doesn't exist anymore, which is crazy, but it happens. This is a team that is really conditioned mentally and physically to withstand anything, in my opinion.
And most of all, you don't worry about what anybody else is saying. It's just the people that count are the players and the coaches, and you just got to block out the rest of the world.
Can we talk about Drake Maye and what he has, just his growth this year, what Josh McDaniels and this staff has done with Drake Maye? I mean, you saw a guy just develop right before your eyes.
And I thought it was some perfect examples last night. We talked about the first week of the season. Well, he didn't see the safety, didn't really know what he was looking at. Now last night, safety, he has to scramble around a little bit. It was only 8-yard completion to Henry, but it was you saw everything you wanted him to do. Everything he needed to improve on, he did it.
I think that his greatest asset that has shown up to me recently, especially in last night's game,
is what?
Forget about the deep ball, forget about his ability to see the defense. I think he sees the game the same way Mike sees the game. And how Mike wants the game called, it's like another layer of complementary football. Case in point, he's scrambling in the fourth quarter. He slides. He had like 10 more yards. He could have got more yardage. Could have gotten a first down, all those things. But he realized that the most important thing, we're not the stats, we're not the numbers, but the fact is to get rid of the clock, is to kill the clock. So, I think he just sacrificed his own stats for the betterment of the team, which is the ultimate goal. So he understands that. I think that is such an nobody's talking about that asset that he has, and I feel like it's so important.
And the biggest thing for Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, when he calls a play, if he knows that the quarterback is going to be thinking exactly what he's thinking, that's critical. You can't call plays if you call play, I hope the quarterback does this, I hope he does that. No, I call play, I know.
You got to know.
I know that he's going to see the game exactly the way I see it.
I got to know.
But that's all part of the teamwork part of it.
Petey, I got to know.
I got to know.
I got to know.